occasion, and let me tell you, challenge the mind and
Cunning, healthy dose of mythical. He's always the smallest creature in the room, but he's always got the far and wide.
But don't let his playful nature fool you. Anansi's stories aren't just about laughs, knowledge.
Might be a trickster, but he's also a reminder that a little bit of wit. His legacy. Story of how stories came to be. Now, one of the most famous Anansi's.
This goes, stories were kept locked away by the sky god. When it came to knowledge, he liked keeping it all to himself.
But Anansi, being as he believed that stories should be shared, enjoyed, and passed.
He set out on a mission to liberate the stories from Naomi's clutches.
On a god, that's suicide. And you wouldn't be wrong to think that. Mary Spider had a plan so crazy it just... Niama, in his infinite wisdom, or maybe just plain arrogance, decided to set Anansi a series of impossible tasks. These tasks were not just difficult. Niama was confident that Anansi would fail and learn a valuable lesson.
First, Anansi had this snake was so long it could.
Now, Anansi could have easily given up, said, "Yo, Niama, you win. You keep your precious stories." Isn't Anansi's style. Anansi thrived on a challenge. He relished the opportunity to prove himself. He looked at those impossible tasks and he was determined to outsmart Niama.
He used his wits, his cunning, his cleverness knew no bounds. He tricked the python into tying itself in knots, a feat that seemed impossible. He tapped it in the gourd, making them think it was a rainstorm, stroke of pure genius.
Anansi returns in turn, dusted the spider. Now he was bound. He had to hand over the stories.
But Anansi, being bold, just want the stories for himself. Oh no, he wanted everyone to have them. He shared and knowledge to all corners.
Those stories, those precious nuggets of wisdom and imagination, he let them fly free to be caught by anyone who had an understand. And that, my friend, people, Anansi, the tiny spider with a giant breast but shared knowledge, that's magic. It connects us, teaches us how small we may feel.
Anansi's legacy lives on in every folk tale, every myth, every bedtime story whispered from one generation to the next. To never underestimate, to always use our wits to overcome life's challenges.
So the next time you hear a story that makes you laugh, think, or simply marvel at the power of imagination, remember Anansi, the little spider who dared to... The legacy of Anansi. But our
we've got a whole continent to explore even more incredible creatures, hilarious mishaps, and mind-blowing tales.
So stick around, because up next we're heading east to Kenya, where a certain mischievous hare is about to teach us a lesson in humility, and maybe a thing or two about picking on someone your own size.
Don't touch that dial. You miss.
All right, folks, we're hopping on over to East Africa, where the sun always shines and the animals, well...
Specifically, we're hanging out in people and their incredible stories.
Now remember Anansi, the spider who loves...
His distant cousin, the hare.
This ain't no ordinary bunny rabbit, quick-witted and always has a trick up his furry little sleeve.
Imagine this, a tiny hare bouncing through the savannah, outsmarting creatures 10 times his size. Lions, elephants, leopards.
Our side comes out on...
So get ready for a story that's as hilarious as it is thought-provoking. A story that teaches us that even the smallest cleverness and a whole lot of nerve
throughout the land for his... could talk his way out of anything. Or
feeling pretty pleased with himself when he bumped into a group of animals huddled around a watering hole.
They looked worried, stressed, like they'd lost their last carrot. This lion, he wasn't exactly known for his stampede when it came to reminding everyone.
Ending tribute, probably a back massage if you were within
sick of it, but what could they do? He was attitude.
Hair, twinkle in his eye. He knew just what to do.
The next morning, the lion went on, declaring himself the ruler of all he surveyed, when a small voice interrupted him.
Excuse me, Your Majesty, in town, and he says...
Now the lion, he almost choked on his own roar. Another king, preposterous. He was the lion, the fiercest, the strongest, the one with the best mane in the whole savannah.
Another king? Show me this imposter. I'll make him into a scratching post. Oh, he's much too powerful for you to handle, Your Majesty. He's big, he's strong, and he's got a roar that could make your mane stand on end.
The lion, he was fuming. He paced. He couldn't believe some upstart's authority. He had to see this so-called king for himself.
He's down there, Your Majesty, but be warned. He's not one for visitors.
The lion, blinded by rage and curiosity, stalked back at him, was another lion. A fearsome, majestic, more impressive than his own. Or so he thought. You see, the lion, in his arrogance, action. The hare had cleverly used the well to trick the lion, playing on his vanity and had his cat in the jungle. The lion roared at his door. The reflection, of course, roared right back. The lion, in rage, charged at the well, ready to fight, promptly tumbled headfirst into the water. The hare watched as the lion splashed around, trying to run. The other animals, emboldened by the hare's bravery, cautiously approached the well, their fear replaced with amusement. The lion, soaking wet and utterly humiliated, climbed out of the well, all thoughts of tyranny forgotten. He had been outsmarted by a creature a fraction of his size, and in that moment he learned a valuable lesson.
The hare, through his clever trick, had taught the lion that strength wasn't everything. It was wit, cunning, and a good dose of humility that truly made a leader. The lion, humbled by the experience, learned to listen to others, to think before he acted, and to never underestimate the power of a good laugh, especially when it's at his own expense. And so, the hare in the savannah. Sometimes, the best way to win a battle is to outsmart your opponent. Far from over. Head west to Niger, about to get, well, let's just say you might want to pack a fire extinguisher.
All right, folks, are you ready for another dose of African mythness? I'm touching down in the land of Jobbers. Now, if you thought Nancy the spider, the trickster, and the hare were to meet tortoise.
This ain't no ordinary shell-wearing reptile. He's got dream, but he's also got a serious case of foot and mouth bite off more than he can chew. Literally. So imagine this, a tortoise strolling through by the bird, enough delicious food to satisfy even the hungriest hippopotamus. And our tortoise, he's determined to get sky-high buffet no matter.
Now, Tortoise, he was known for his steady pace, but he was also appetite. When he heard about the birds having a feast, up started rumbling like a volcano about to erupt.
Fly. He looked at his stubby legs, his heavy shell, and sighed. If only I were easily sure of the knack for getting what he wanted. He'd just have to convince someone to take him. So he went around to all so grand, spectacular, that it would be a crime against
Party. They were already gathering fed and gossiping about who would feast. When they heard Tortoise's description, they were practically drooling.
To be legendary, squawked the weaver bird.
All a slow, cunning smile that would make a crocodile.
You'll all be there, he soothed his honey. But what about me? The humble tortoise, I can't possibly fly all the way up there.
The bird's sympathy. They'd never known
Possibly fly all the way up there.
The bird's sympathy. They'd never known him to be anything but honest and kind. Even if he did have a habit of showing up uninvited, but honest and kind. Even if he did have a habit of showing up uninvited to every gathering. Don't worry, Tortoise. Putting his powerful wings, we'll take you with us. We'll each lend you a feather, and you can fashion yourself a pair of wings. Tortoises eyed. He thanked the birds profusely. Each bird plucked out their finest feather to help their friend experience the joy of the sight. The magnificent set of borrowed wings, a kaleidoscope of the joy of the sight. The magnificent set of borrowed wings, a kaleidoscope of dream, a testament to the generosity of the bird. And flap of his tortoise lifted off the ground, soaring into the sky. Birds. He couldn't believe it. He was flying. He couldn't believe it. He was flying. As they flew higher and higher, the air grew thinner, the wind colder. The birds, used to the challenges of flight, soared effortlessly. But Tortoise, he was struggling. Those borrowed feathers, so beautiful, some felt heavy and cumbersome in the air. He started to let wings flapping frantically.
Wait for me, wind.
But the birds, caught up in the excitement of the feast, didn't help. Tortoise tried to keep up, but it was no use. His makeshift wings, held together by nothing reed, started to fall apart. Then, with a sickening lurch, Tortoise dreams of a sky-high feast.
his shell cracking under the impact. Luckily, his shell cracking under the impact. Luckily, tortoises are built tough, and he survived the fish or the marks of his greed. His once smooth shell now cracked and dented. A constant reminder of his failed attempt to soar above his station. Story? Well, my friends, as much as we all love a good feast, sometimes it's best to be content with what we have and who we are. Greed, like a poorly
a whirlwind tour of some of the most unbelievable, hilarious, and thought-provoking myths. We've journeyed from the lush rainforests of West Africa, where with clevens, we've encountered animals, always ready to put through unbelievable feats and the moral lessons. One thing remains constant: are more than just bedtime. They're a reflection of the human, capturing our hopes, fears, and dreams, a way of making sense of the world around us and understanding our place within it. So, as we wrap up our journey to the magical world of African myths, let's take a moment to appreciate the rich humor and timeless lessons, and a deep connection to the African landscape, its people.
Now, I know what you might be thinking, Trevor, these are great stories and all, but I made up stories from a simpler time. And yeah, sure, they might involve talking animals and gods who love a good prank, but look closer, and you're something universal. Not just about entertainment, they're about understanding. They're about grappling with life's big questions, the nature of good and evil, the importance of community, and the trickster that lives within us all. The beauty of myth is that it transcends time and place. These stories, told and retold for centuries, still resonate with us today. Reflecting Africa. And let's not forget, folks, these stories are rooted in Africa, a continent bursting with diversity.
Explaining the world and its
into the heart of Africa, its values, its beliefs, its hopes, and its fears.
They connect us to the land and to the enduring spirit of a continent.
African myth, don't just see it as
Complex culture, a culture that has much to teach: resilience, community, and the power of storytelling.
Best love story about a spider tricking a god or a tortoise trying to fly.
These stories remind us that even in the face of ourselves, and to never take ourselves too
This is
seriously.
often subversive, poking fun at authority, breaking the underdog, and highlighting the absurdity of human.
And you know what?
Sometimes a little bit of laughter is all we need to get through the day, to remind us that life is too short to be anything but our weird, wonderful selves.
So the next time you're feeling down, remember the wisdom of African myths. Don't be afraid to laugh at yourself, to embrace the absurd, and to find the humor in even the most challenging.
Laughter is the best medicine.
The gift of storytelling.
But beyond the laughs, the wisdom, and the cultural insights, these African myths remind us of the power of storytelling itself. For centuries, these stories have been passed down orally.
Each storyteller brings their own unique style, their own interpretations, their own embellishments to the tales.
Experience and the enduring legacy of cultural transmission through storytelling. So the next time you hear a story that captivates your imagination, that sparks your curiosity, that makes you think or laugh or feel a connection to something bigger than yourself, the power of storytelling to transport us, to teach, and to remind us of our shared humanity. And where we come in, because these stories, these provoking myths tell themselves, rely on us, the listeners, the storytellers, the keepers of tradition, to keep them alive.
Share these stories with your friends, your family, that random person you met at the grocery store who clearly needs a good laugh, to Anansi the spider, the hare, and yes, even tortoise with his questionable life choices.
Let them discover the magic, the value of these timeless tales, stories. The more we to inspire, to teach, and to connect us to the rich cultural heritage of Africa and its people.
Join the adventure like
To end here. Into the unbelievable world of African myths, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode.
We've got a whole lot more stories to share, adventures to embark on, and laughs to be had. And hey, why keep the fun to yourself? Share this video with your friends, your family, your pet parrot who's clearly tired of cracker jokes.
Let's spread the love for African myths far and wide. Because the more we learn about different cultures, the more we understand each other, and the more we realize that despite stay curious, stay laughing, and never stop exploring the incredible time.
Until next time, peace.